Yeah, we are live after some technical stuff. uh it's good, it's good, it's good. I'm really happy to be here as always. We just got ourselves going live. Let us know, by the way, if you're tuning in live, whether you can hear okay. We see Krishna Baladeo's here with us already going, I don't know, you could probably do that better. How do you do that
Woot
sound?
woot.
Like a
I don't know. I always, when I read it, I
woot
just
woot?
think of him going woot woot.
That's
Don't think that's what he means.
Okay, it looks like yeah, you're kind of breaking up still a little bit coming through us. It's kind of hard to hear you there.
Yeah.
General and Captain are here. What's up, Krishna Baladeo? Anyways, I'm sure we'll get through it and things will straighten out for us. But guys, yeah, let us know that you can hear us okay and such while we kind of get the technical aspects figured out. We are today going to be recapping a little bit of what we did last week. We talked about 7 major negative influences in our lives, and we talked about those influences pretty much in depth. It was like an hour-long discussion. It was really good, though. So I left the link for part 1 in the comments, so you can go back and check that out when you've got the opportunity. We will recap it quickly for you today, so you don't necessarily have to go back right now. But when we're done, I do recommend going back and checking that out, putting your headphones in. It was a really great discussion about these negative influences and how they affect our lives, sometimes in the most subtle ways. And we don't even really know it. We're kind of unconscious to it. But when we become conscious to it, we can really see it, and then we can do something about it. And then today we're going to
Yeah.
be talking about how essentially S3X mastery, so how the techniques of alchemy helps you shield yourself and create a very strong auric field and a very strong mindset and energy where you could protect yourself from many of the negative influences of this world so you can rise above it and be able to, live a good life and live a life that you want. And then also, we're going to be showing you one technique to clear your auric field. So that way, it's like taking a shower. I compare it to that. If
Mm.
hopefully you take a shower at least once a day. uh, Hopefully you brush your teeth at least once or 2 times a day, at least, but hopefully you're cleaning yourself physically every single day. And if you're not, start with that. That would be a good place to start. But yeah, in all seriousness, we also need to take an energetic bath every day. How do we clear our energy? How do we clear our mind? Because we are, whether we realize it or not, negative influences are there. And just like, we take a shower every day to clean the dirt off of our skin, we should also shower our energy body every day to clear the energetic frequencies that are subtly moving throughout the ether and throughout the environment that we pick up on. And oftentimes we could pick up on these things, and sometimes we don't even know, why do I feel a little off today? Why
Mm.
do I feel like not so, great? I'm doing everything right? I'm sleeping good, I'm eating well, I'm exercising, I'm hanging out with good people, but still I feel off. And that's because just the overall atmosphere inside of the current age we live in is a little bit like swimming upstream. It's a little bit sometimes like, oh, kind of moving through muddy water. And so by doing this practice that we're going to show you, you'll be able to clear your auric field. You'll be able to keep yourself feeling good, vibrant, and move through this world. Captain Jake, how does it sound on your end now? You coming through better? Seems
Yeah,
like it.
sounds good. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, we can hear you good. I think we're good on the technical. So let's play the intro music and we'll get into it.
Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control, their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control, their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain.
Semen retention soldiers,
Yeah.
my S3X Alchemy brothers. Welcome to our live discussion and training. For those who are here with us live, thank you so much. Make sure you say what's up, leave comments, all that kind of good stuff. Same if you're watching the recording. We appreciate you tuning in every single 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know, we go from half an hour, 45 minutes, wherever the discussion goes, to talk about these techniques, to demonstrate some of these alchemy techniques so you can use them right in your life and to keep you empowered. And I would say by plugging in once a week, if you make this a weekly habit, you put it on your schedule, you dedicate yourself. All right, I'm giving myself this half hour to hour to learn about this movement, learn about these practices, and get into an inspired state. You're going to see a dramatic difference and improvement in your overall energy, your thoughts, and therefore your life. Captain Jake, he's running the army within our community. So what's going on inside the group this week? Things have been popping off as usual. We got tons of good conversation. What's the discussions like in there?
So many cool conversations this week and guys helping each other. I think we spoke a bit about this in some way, about how different people's energy can affect us and association. Spoke about that, and well, just so many things, like, because there's so many personal aspects to this that come up for people. And it's just great to see how the guys help each other, and we kind of try to help them as well. I was just thinking, last week, there's some other things maybe we didn't mention, but maybe we did we talk about how, like, sleeping with someone can affect your energy?
No.
Yeah, and also we spoke about food, but we speak about how the mood of the cooking of the food can affect your energy also, like, not just, you know, if the food is good or bad, but also who's cooking or what mood you're cooking in. I just thought of those two things as you were doing the intro. I was like, oh, these are more things that affect us. And we had like an hour conversation last week, but I don't even think we spoke about those things.
No, because there's actually so much. So let's actually talk about those things. What we'll do right now is we'll do a quick recap of the 7 major negative influences that we talked about last week. And then we'll go through how mastery of your sexual energy will actually help you create a positive shield in your life and protect you from those. And those two things, who you sleep with and the mood of the cook, are really interesting aspects of our energetic selves and how we can tap into that type of power. So a quick recap from last week was, first thing that we talked about was the news. How the negative news, the mainstream media, it's designed to keep you in fear. It's designed to keep you.
Dun, dun.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about all the different kind of different techniques that they employ, music and headlines and breaking news and, you know, all of that stuff, and how it really affects you. Even if you're a very conscious person, it still affects you energetically because it's seeping into your auric field. So we want to just cut down the news, reduce the news. There's so many ways. I just trust if I'm meant to know about it, it'll come into my awareness. You know, it'll I trust that God will share with me and reveal to me whatever I need to know to fulfill my mission. So when you live in full faith, you don't have to be like, I got to stay plugged into everything that's going on. And that's like a kind of a fearful way of living. But when you live in faith, you trust that, oh, God is going to provide me with the knowledge and the awareness that I need to fulfill my mission and my duty as I need it. So if it's not in my awareness, it's because it's not meant for me.
It's unnecessary.
Yeah. Oftentimes information doesn't equal wisdom.
Yeah.
In fact, it could equal the opposite. The more information you have, the more confused sometimes you become. I've seen it happen to people. Research, over-researching. Now they're confused. They've got analysis paralysis, right? They're just analyzing everything, doing nothing, getting nowhere. It's better you take action and learn as you go, because the best experience in life is going to be from the actions you take and the direct experiences you're having, because those experiences are meant for you. They're meant for not only your material evolution, but your soul evolution. So forget the mainstream media, forget the news. You'll feel better within 72 hours of ignoring mainstream media news. watch how you'll feel. You'll just feel better about life. That cloud of negativity will start to lift from you.
Mm.
The second aspect we talked about is unhealthy foods. Now, we talked about it from the perspective of processed foods, overeating, processed foods, sugary foods, salty foods that are just highly just negative for us. We'll know what they are. They come in packages, they come through the drive-through window, right? You know, all of those type of foods, essentially, you just want to cut out from your life. Now, Jake, you brought up an interesting point, something that we know in the yogic path and in our spiritual,
the
in
energetical side of food,
which is, can you talk a little bit about that? It's very interesting.
Well, the mood of everything is important, the consciousness and the intention. So also in food, not a lot of people know it, but the mood someone cooks in and the consciousness of that person is carried into the food you eat. So, you know, it's very nice. You could probably tell the difference between a nice home cooked meal made with love by your mum compared to like fast food. It just feels something different about it. You can almost feel and taste the love that energy carries. So yeah, I mean, sometimes we might eat some fast food or eat out at some restaurant. We don't know who the cook is. Some person who's like stressed that day, angry, they're smoking in the break, coming back, making the food, and then we eat it. Oh, this is delicious. Then we might go home and be like, why I feel so angry, or the next day, or like I feel really horny or something. Like we're taking on the consciousness and mood of that person actually, because it went into anytime you make something, the mood is carried over. So we need to watch for that. So it's good to make your own food or with people whom you know who's made it, that they made it with a good intention.
Yeah, I was cooking. We call it prashadam, blessed food, and you can see that this practice is carried out by all traditions. I believe the Muslims call it halal, right?
Halal,
Food that's been blessed
halal
or sanctified, halal. Kosher, Jewish culture and tradition. I know because of growing up Catholic, like we all, you know, we know the story that Jesus broke bread, blessed the food, and then shared it with his disciples. So you can see this idea of sharing food and blessing food is in all spiritual cultures. A couple practices that I do at myself at home. So myself and my wife Sarah, every day before dinner, we do this especially before dinner. We sit down to eat. We share what we're grateful for. So I'll say, you know, I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful for the blessings that we have. You know, and I'll just mention a bunch of things that are just top of mind. And then Sarah will do the same thing. And what it does is it puts us in an attitude of gratitude before we eat, which of course that consciousness then goes into our food and into the experience of eating together and sharing that time. So you can do that with your family by having your you know wife or your kids or your husband, whatever it is, just sharing gratitude before you eat, and see if you can eat together as well. You know, one of the beautiful things about food is this idea of sharing that time together and eating together, and just really having that warm feeling. It actually shifts the mood and the energy. And the second thing that I did it over the weekend. I was cooking for a group of spiritual devotees, specifically a Hare Krishna community gathering in my local town, and I was cooking dessert. And so I put a kirtan on, which is a form of mantra meditation. And so you could put good music on. You could put like a nice spiritual soundtrack or something that makes you feel uplifting, and put that vibration on. Having that vibration emanating through your house just gives that subtle energetic touch to everything you do, and you will notice it, like you said, that the food tastes so good. So the number 3 was drugs and alcohol, and
we had a nice comment on that quickly.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
just because it was about food. Yeah, Israel said thanking for food actually raises the frequency of the cells on a molecular level. Baxter effect. That's true. And I would even go further than that. Like thanking for food and maybe thanking God for your food, it really has a positive effect. But offering it to him is even more, because there's some devotion in that. It's not just like, oh, thanks for giving me this. It's like, please, you have some. This belongs to you anyway. So these moods can affect our food and our consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, offering food is and just like thanking God, and again actually asking him. Now some people, if you're too materially conscious, you'll be like, well, God doesn't gonna eat it, he's not gonna sit down and have dinner with you. And I'm like, well, maybe he will. I mean, he's omnipresent, omnipotent, all powerful. I would never limit him to that. But
it's
yeah, go ahead.
It's only respectful for, like, if you were to come into someone's house, you wouldn't just go into their fridge and take all the food and not offer them anything, would you? So we understand God is the source of everything. Everything actually belongs to him. So anything we are eating it's his house, so offer him first. You wouldn't just go into someone's house and just eat everything. Thank you. Even, or not say thank you, you offer the host something,
Yeah, that's exactly it. And God is he's not like us. Like his form, his body's not like us, where like I can only see through my eyes, but he's omnipotent. So therefore one of his senses, it can do everything all senses can do. So even though you might not see him physically with his eyes, you could feel his presence when you offer it. And again, this whole consciousness actually goes into everything you do. And by the way, this is not just for food. You can do this for every aspect of your life. When you're working, offer that to God. Bring that consciousness into every aspect of your life. Bring it into your family life. Bring it into your work life. Bring it into your finances. Bring it into your health. God is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent. So there's no like, oh, I just go to the temple to worship God, or church or synagogue or mosque or wherever you go. He's everywhere. So you can always be in contact with him by keeping him in your mind and offering everything you're doing. And by doing that, you will have a practical experience of noticing how it changes the quality of not only your heart, you do, but it literally changes the experience of it and the results. It changes the frequency and even what it attracts into your life. I've noticed when I'm doing that while I'm working, my work goes better. Like it's like it has a different resonance, and there's more engagement, there's more attraction towards it than if I'm just doing it out of scarcity or just obligation, rather than doing it in a real spirit of service and love. So these are all things that you can do to really spiritualize your atmosphere and help you transmute your energy from fear and just raw lust into love and faith, which is ultimately the steps of an alchemist and what we're teaching here. All right, number 3, drugs and alcohol. Basically, you just want to get rid of that. I mean, if you're still using drugs and alcohol, then you can still offer that. I actually had a mentor of mine tell me that like one time, because I was like, this was when I was still struggling with smoking dope. He's like, at least offer it to God, because any pleasure that you arrive is actually coming from him anyways, right? So it's obviously not like the highest form of offering, but it's still better than not offering. It's so you can still even connect these things, but it's better to stay away from them altogether, because they're not meant for the human form of life, right? They're just not meant for us. So there are certain things, for example, that are meant for the animals. And so the animals can do it and not pick up any negativity or karmic effect. But there are certain things that are not meant for the human being, because we've evolved beyond that, or at least we're in the path of evolving beyond that. So drugs and alcohol are poisons. That's why they're called toxins. It's right in the word, right? Toxins. It's toxic. So therefore you want to stay away from it. Yeah. Intoxication. So we don't want to we don't want to make our body toxic. Even if we took the spiritual aspects out of it from a straight biological, physical level, they're toxic for you. They're diminishing your life. They're diminishing your ability to create. And they're diminishing your whole power as a human being. So you want to live a clean life. And that, to me, is one of the greatest acts of rebellion you can do in this age right now, because generally everybody is like quite polluted in some way, shape, or form. So you'll notice that just by cleaning yourself up, that you will have an advantage in life. Your mind will be sharper. Your insights will be sharper. You will be way more effective. And therefore, even materially, you'll advance quicker than everybody who's intoxicating. Even if you think, oh, well, it's once in a while, that's fine. And yeah, once in a while, probably not going to do crazy amounts of damage, but over a certain amount of time, you'll just get to a place. Why would I even want to like poison myself once in a while? And stop using these things as rewards. Oh, I've been doing really well, so now I get to poison myself, right? Like, oh, I've had a great week. Now it's time to poison myself and take away basically everything that you've built up. Why? So we really have to get into this new relationship and healthy mindset with ourselves, that why would we even, if you said to someone, hey, once in a while, can I inject you with some poison? It's just once in a while. It's just once in a while, I'll just inject you with some poison. You'd be like, hell no. Like, why would I even allow that once in a while? Right?
Yeah.
Cherish your own life and self so much that you'd be like, no, I will not put toxics into my body once in a while. I will just completely live a clean life. And if you're thinking, yeah, but I love to get high and great, join the Alchemy program. I'll show you how to get high through your breath. Man, I was with my family, and we were doing, every week we get together and do Qigong together, myself, my wife, and my parents. And we just started this habit of doing Qigong together. And I got so high the first time. Like, I actually sat down and I was like, man, I feel high. Like I just smoked a joint. That's how I feel. And it's just because my energy is so just so rising, and it was just in a different place. Like I literally was slurring my words a bit and such. Like I'm like, I feel high, but I didn't take any substance. And so you can get high. All these substances we can take, you can actually get to those states without the intoxication. That's why we like to take them. Yeah.
You can get high on your own supply, actually.
Totally. Yeah. 100%. The reason that you take them is because you kind of know, like, shouldn't I feel that good anyways? Shouldn't I feel that high anyways? Shouldn't I be that loose? I was working with one of my clients locally, and we were doing the 6 healing sounds as part of his coaching session. And then after we did a standing meditation, and then he was like, he started going like this, like he started like kind of just flinging his arms around like the wacky inflatable man, like and we were just doing this like kind of after and just cracking up laughing. And we're grown ass men, right? Like he's in his 40s and right? And we were just like kids. We were just like, woo. And he's like, woo, I feel so good. I feel so loose. He's like, I feel so confident, And we did that, no intoxication, no nothing. We didn't do that with any drugs. We did that simply by breath work and meditation. And all of a sudden he was just felt so loose and so good. And he started laughing like he was high. And we just started laughing together. And it was just nice to share that moment of complete high, like just completely high on life. And see, when you know how to do that, then it's easy to stay away from the other. In fact, the other stuff seems like a bad high. You're like, why would I do that? That you want to get high? Let me show you actually how to get high,
No, because that kind of high covers your awareness. It actually, you're escaping reality. But this kind of high, you go more into reality. So it's like even more, you feel even more clear.
I was thinking this morning, I was reading a specific text in our myself and Jake's tradition, in the Hare Krishna tradition. It's called Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a wonderful text, whether you're a Hare Krishna or not. We don't care how you would, it's being spiritual isn't about taking on some other bodily label. It's about evolving consciousness. And this book particularly really helps you evolve consciousness. And so I'm reading a particular chapter where it's talking about Srila Prabhupada, who's our spiritual master, our teacher. He's talking about all these different rishis or sages, and just their different ways of being, their different personalities, and you could just tell how powerful this stuff is and how like intoxicated they were about life itself. And I was just thinking, I had this thought of going, because this doubting thought comes in sometimes that says, is this even real? Like, you're reading these stories. Is this stuff even real? And then what I believe God spoke to me this morning and said, there is power in believing. Whether you believe it to be real or not is irrelevant. When you have full faith in what's being spoken here, you will break all limitations because you're just simply believing in things that most people don't believe in. And so there's power in belief. There's power in having complete faith in things that sometimes our logical mind questions. Our human mind goes, is that real? You know, Jesus demonstrated that. He even said, by the power of your belief, you are healed, to the woman who touched his clothes, right? And she became healed right away. And he didn't say, oh, I healed you. He said, the power of your belief, the amount that you surrendered, the amount of faith that you have is actually the power. And that's what God told me this in my readings. He said, it's your power. It's your belief in it. Now I believe it. I accept it as what I'm reading to be reality. But there is still that little bit of doubt. And God clearly said, it is your power of faith. And as you believe, you will see your limitations disappear. You'll see it all just fade away. And so I am challenging you guys to believe. Even if you're hearing these words and thinking, can I really get high without substances? Can I really feel amazing without getting drunk? And can I dance like nobody's watching without having to take a few shots first, right? And it's yes, you can. And if you don't believe it right now and you have doubt, that's okay. We'll hold that space of belief for you until you believe it for yourself, and then challenge yourself to go and try it. You know, one of the things I'm going to put out to some of my local clients, and if you ever come and spend time with me, we'll do it, is we're going to go dancing. We're going to go to the club, but no intoxication, no nothing. We're going to do a bunch of breath work first, and then we're going to go to the club, and we're going to tear the club up, and we're going to do it completely sober. And we're also going to be able to see how all the unsober people are behaving and acting and lose the taste of that. Because when you're sober in those environments, you really can see
I've done that.
You can lose the taste. Yeah.
I've done that before. For me, I have to like the music. If I like the music, then I can just dance and have fun anyway. And then, yeah, you look around and some people looking at you going, why is he having so much fun? You know, and they're not even, and they're the ones who are intoxicated, you know.
I was the other on Halloween, and I was the only one who didn't take any intoxication at all. And I also danced more than anybody when the music came on and everything. And I noticed it. And I'm like, y'all are the ones who are intoxicated. You're the ones who should be like, you know, like killing it and just partying and wilding out. But you could see, like, eventually they were getting to the point where they're just going to pass out anyways, right? Like, they're so eventually, like, the body will shut them down and the reason we pass out and got down like that when we get intoxicated is because the body's telling you enough. Like, you can't keep putting this in me and thinking that I'm not going to shut. You know, we end up passing. Yeah. Point is, we want to get rid of drugs and alcohol altogether. If you're still on that journey, reach out to me. You know, we've got tools to help you out. I'm not talking from a place that I have been sober my whole life. I've been high most of I got introduced to smoking dope like on a regular level in college, you know, high school, college, and over a decade of that. And so the fact that I can be here now on the other side of that and feeling so good without it, I know you can too. You just have to desire it enough, and you have to see the benefits. You have to convince yourself, which I know you're already convinced. If not, you wouldn't be listening. You already inherently know that that is the truth and this is the path, but you need the strength. And that comes from number 4, association. Who we hang out with, we become like. So if you want to get rid of the negative in your life, it's simple. You have to hang out with people who are positive. You have to be around people who have that strength, who have that faith, who have that belief. And by osmosis, just by hanging out with them, just by tuning into their material, reading their books or listening to their shows or their music. Like, Jake's got like all this awesome rap. I listen to him every time I go on TikTok to post something. Jake is the first person that comes up on my on my TikTok, and I always listen to it because I like hip hop and good music, and he puts out really great music. And just by hearing his lyrics and stuff, it inspires me, and it does it in a way that I can resonate. So we're providing all kinds of conscious music and conscious living and conscious sexuality, and we're infusing everything with good consciousness so that you can get the right association.
Yeah.
Number 5, negative sleeping patterns. This is huge. Hi, Carrie. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate you. So, negative sleeping patterns, the world has a rhythm. Sun, moon, day, night. We want to align ourselves as best as we can with that rhythm, because that's when we're going to actually, do you know that your hormones are aligned with the sun and moon?
Yeah, and
so
digestion
when
as
you're
well.
not taking on the natural rhythms, digestion as well. You know, people talk about how do I lose weight and such. I was like, sleep better.
Don't eat.
And you'll see
Yeah,
that
and
your
don't
body
eat
fat percentage
after 7.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Stop eating late at night. Cut off your eating time, 7 o'clock. You know, stop eating. 2 hours at least before you go to bed. No eating anything.
And as you get older, eat less. People don't know this as well. The body needs less as you get older, and people are still eating the same they ate 20 years ago. See these guys who are like 50 years old, still eating a massive plate. No wonder you're fat. Like, your body doesn't need as much. Like, so many subtle things that we don't know. And sleep was also a long-term one. It's one of those ones where if you sleep regularly for a long time, you really see the benefit. In the short term, you might not see it. So you go, oh, it doesn't matter. I'll get up at this time, that time. You know, or it's even hard to do a good routine in the beginning. So you're like, oh, I'm too tired. But it's the kind of thing where if over time you get up early consistently, you really see the change. And actually in the negative as well, like many people, you know, they get sick later in life or even probably die earlier because of like irregulated sleep in their early years.
Yeah, we're actually don't realize you know, how much we're actually taking away from our own life force. Therefore, we're actually taking days, months, and maybe years off of our life because of all of these habits. The body is very, like, we've evolved and we've come to this point in our soul's evolution where we have a human body, and the human body is quite powerful. It's actually the most technologically advanced piece of equipment on the planet, but we treat it like if you had a Ferrari, how would you treat it as opposed to if you had like a Honda Civic? No offense to anyone driving Honda Civics out there, right? The point is, if you have an amazing vehicle, or if you have like a low end vehicle, you're gonna treat them differently, right? You're gonna be like, that Ferrari, you're gonna protect, you're gonna like clean it, you're gonna never put anything but Supreme gas in it. You're gonna, like, you know, put it in the garage in wintertime so that it doesn't get like the way you treat something when you value it is like high end, you know, first class, right? All the way. When you don't value something, then you treat it like shit, basically, right? You know, you put shitty gas into it, you won't take care of it. So the question you have to be serious and you have to ask yourself now is, how much do you value yourself and your body, your vehicle for experiencing this life? When you hold the highest value for yourself, you're not just going to put anything in it. You're also going to treat it well. You're going to give it the proper rest it needs. So when you have a Ferrari, you're going to take it to the mechanic when it's due. You're going to get the oil change when it's due, right? You're going to, because you know that this is a highly valuable piece of machinery, which is going to give you amazing experiences. Well, similarly, when you treat your body like the Ferrari, you're going to get to sleep on time. You know, I said to my wife the other day, just in conversation, I said, you know, if we want to make athlete money, we need athlete, like professional athlete. You know, we're talking NBA. We want to make NBA money. We want to make, we want to have an NBA lifestyle. Then we need the habits of an NBA player. You can't have the habits of a college ball or a high school or an amateur and expect to have a professional lifestyle. You're not qualified to have that. You haven't paid the price to have it. If you need to have the habits of a top-notch athlete, to get top-notch athlete lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to ask yourself, you have to be real. Do my habits line up with the amateurs, or do my athletes line up with the pros? And if you want to step into the pro circuit of life, then you have to get good sleep. You have to honor that. And you have to recognize that your body needs the right rest so that you can work and function at your absolute best every single day. All right, number 6, pornography. We talked a lot
again,
about that.
People still watching that, are they?
Yeah, y'all still watching that, right? Pornography is just like, I mean, we talk tons about it. So subscribe to the channel. I've got a whole playlist on NoFap and the damages of pornography. So we won't even get into it. I mean, we can all use our intelligence and understand the negative effects of pornography. But there is another aspect of sexuality that, Jake, that you mentioned that we didn't talk about last week, that I love to highlight, which is ultimately who you're sharing your sexual energy with.
You have to be very careful about that. Similar to the food, you might, if you're sleeping around with different people, or someone in particular who has a certain kind of energy that's maybe not so healthy, you might suddenly feel, oh, why do I feel so down? Why do I feel, even you can feel physically sick, or it'll affect your mood. You know, think about, oh, is it because I slept with all those people recently, or that one person that I know is like, something's not right there. It's like, I mean, everything you come in contact with affects you, and it's a very intimate thing, sexual interaction. So it's going to affect your energy.
When you have sex with someone, you don't just have a physical exchange, you have an energetic exchange. So you want to be conscious of who you're exchanging your energy with, and to make sure that they're of a high consciousness. And men, we have a responsibility to keep ourselves clean and keep ourselves healthy and high in consciousness, so that when we do sleep with someone, we can actually transfer that, and that ability and that health, all that vibrancy goes into your partner, into your woman. And women, you should be conscious about who you're allowing to enter into you, because remember, it's just energetics, male, female, right? When the masculine transfers his energy into the feminine, and that happens, yes, physically through semen ejaculation, but also energetically and consciously. So women should be very conscious about who they're allowing to actually allow to have sex with, because the man's consciousness is highly going to affect you. And so if you're just like, again, if you're just sleeping around with a ton of people, and you're just, hooking up with people kind of randomly, and they're full of intoxicants and they're full of stuff, all that, you're taking all that on. And women, actually, the feminine energy carries the karma of the masculine energy. So it's really important that you're conscious about the type of people that you're going to share yourself with in that way. So, take that and really reflect on it, and really, take that aspect serious. And number 7 is your own mind. Your own mind. Has your own mind become a negative or positive influence? I mean, there's so many negative influences in the world. Why make your own mind one too? How many of us are spending time, ask yourself, reflect on this. Does my mind support me, or does my mind take away from me? Like, is my mind cheering me on? Yes, you can do it. Go ahead, take that extra step. Go ahead, I believe in you. Or does your mind go, remember that mistake you made 3 years ago? Remember that mistake you made last week? Remember that crappy thing you did? Are you full of guilt, shame? Are you full of negative perceptions? Are you full of skepticism? Right? Do you talk harshly to yourself? This is something I've been consciously doing over the last little bit. As soon as I hear myself, even kind of like talking harshly to myself, or using harsh language to myself in my own internal dialogue, I just tell my little voice, stop, approach me differently. It's like I'm commanding it, right? Don't talk to me like that. Like, I'm starting to not even tolerate my own mind talking to me in a way that isn't respectful. You don't
I'm
talk
gonna
to me
try
like that. Yeah.
I'm starting to do that, becoming more aware through doing the practices with you. It all kind of comes to the surface, and I think mine's mixed, but I think in the past it was more subconscious. We just had these patterns that are like these like negative things, and now I'm really noticing it, and it's very mixed. And I've been learning to change the pattern over and to overcome, because it has so many intricate ways of convincing you of these old ideas, these fears. No, like mine is superstitious. You have to do this a certain number of times. It's like, doesn't make any sense. But no, do it a certain number of times, and then something good will happen. If you do it there, something bad will happen. It's like, what are you talking about? This is just like subtle things. I think since I was a child, I was thinking, and they're still there. And now I'm starting to just be like you're saying, well, I'm not doing what you're saying. I'm going to try what you're saying when it happens again. Just I don't care. I'm not entertaining it. But yeah, we all have something like that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm working on that right now. And I've been consciously working on that, making sure that my own self-talk, even if I want to critique myself, doing it in a loving way. Okay, you could approach that differently. How can you, so we don't have to be harsh with ourselves. And how we are with ourselves is how we are with others. Like if we end up being harsh with ourselves, we'll be harsh with our spouses, we'll be harsh with our kids, we'll be harsh with our animals, we'll be harsh with our community, we'll start how we are. Your outer actions reflect your inner consciousness.
Yeah.
So however you're speaking to yourself, however you're addressing yourself is how you're going to end up interacting and speaking with others. And so that's why, again, when you're living in faith and in God consciousness, and you're always worshiping and praising and singing gratitudes of God, then guess what? All of that is your internal consciousness. Then you end up singing and praising other people, and you end up being a good positive force in the world. So your own internal world is how you show up externally, and also what gets reflected back to you. So take a little checklist. Are you harsh? How do you speak to yourself when it comes to your finances? Do you address yourself as broke? Do you address yourself as poor? Or do you address yourself as someone who's growing and expanding? Do you, in your relationship, do you talk negatively about yourself or your partner or your spouse? Or do you see the good in them? What about your health? Do you say, oh, I'm sick, I'm this, and you constantly take on the identity of being sick or weak? Or are you strong and healthy? Your spiritual life, oh, I'm such a sinner, I'm so bad. Do you carry around religious guilt? Oh, I made a mistake, it must mean I'm being sent to fiery hell. Or do you believe in that God is compassionate and all loving, like a father who just sees the good in his child and wants to help him succeed, right? Your legacy, your impact. Do you see yourself as valuable, as someone who's bringing something good? Or do you just down your own skills? Oh, I have nothing good to bring to the table. I'm just nobody. I'm just a little peon. Or do you say, no, the work I do is valuable. I'm helping my company succeed. I'm helping my community succeed. I'm contributing to the success of my work. See, every aspect of our life, when we bring good, healthy conversation to it and good consciousness to it, it becomes a force of good. All right, so we did kind of a long ass recap again, and so what we want to talk about is how your S3X energy and mastering it is actually creates a shield against these negative influences. So the first thing is that our S3X energy is our most potent energy here in the material atmosphere. In this world, there is nothing more potent than your sexual energy. Your sexual energy basically has three potentials at a high level. One, to create another life. Two, health, vibrancy, peak performance. Mastery of your sexual energy means mastery of your health. It means actually all your attractive qualities, both materially and subtly. It actually straightens out your physical features. It actually makes you more beautiful, more attractive at a subtle level. So, when either men or women, they want to be more attractive, I want to feel sexy. It's all coming from your sexual energy. right? So mastery and consciously knowing how to use it makes you more of an attractive person. Subtly, it also makes your vibration, your sound quality, your tonality. So if you're a speaker, if you're an artist, if you're some kind of you're a businessman, all of that potency of sexual energy is infused into your work or your art or your expression. And then the third potential, so health and self-expression. And then the third potentiality for it is to be transmuted into spiritual power or realization. Because once we can transmute our sexual energy, we literally have more ojas. Ojas means aura or spiritual energy, which surrounds all of our cells, makes us a glowing human being, and then puts us on a higher frequency in which our sixth sense and faith begin to open up. So these are the three potentialities of sexual energy. In today's world, our sexual energy is being depleted by most men, and now women are depleting their own sexual energy through masturbation and pornography. When you're constantly ejaculating your potentiality, your potency, your vibrancy. And it's been shown that constant ejaculation, especially for men now I'm speaking of, actually depletes you of your vital life force. Sperm quality goes down. Semen quality goes down. How many men right now, studies showed, mainstream media actually said something that was actually beneficial. It's finally reporting that the sperm in men is reduced to about 50%.
Well, that's because it's a fearful thing to say. That's why they've said it. They didn't realize we would look at it and go, "Oh, we're going to use that for our thing." But they were like, "Oh, this is a terrible thing. Let's tell everyone. Scary. We won't be able to produce any more people."
Yeah. Do you know what their solution? 100%. Because Big Pharma actually owns the news. Let's be real. Who owns the news? Big Pharma, or at least they're sponsoring it. Yeah, it's gonna be an ongoing. There will always be some health crisis now in the world. You'll see, watch. There will always be some health crisis. There will be some health things, and the solution will be some drug, because Big Pharma is essentially taking over big news, and they're going to use it now as advertising. And so Big Pharma right now, through doctors, traditional doctors, are prescribing more testosterone boosters than ever before, because it is true that men's testosterone levels are lower now than ever before. But there is a natural solution, and it's regulation of your ejaculation. It's living just a natural sex life, because nature will naturally regulate our sex life.
Yeah.
Even if you're a sexual supernova, a big Casanova right? You get all the ladies type of thing. You're a real ladies man. You'll never be able to have as much sex as if you just ejaculated through natural sex than you would through jerking off and pornography. So even if you just got to the level of no pornography, no masturbation, I will only ejaculate through sex with a partner, that will naturally regulate you and get your health and vibrancy back to at least a working order. Now, if you really want to get superior in your life, and you want to take yourself to a whole different level, then you practice ejaculation control. So what happens is, as you master your sexual energy, your aura increases. And actually, once you really start to get like really subtle, our aura has different colors and different qualities to it. So your aura will become vibrant blue or white. White if you're very like saintly, pure, right? If not, it will become like this kind of vibrant, like purplish, bluish almost, because you've reached a high level of realization, but you're active. And so your aura will protect you from the negative influences, that where you can go to the club and you could sit there and not be influenced to take any intoxication. You can do that. You can get to the point where you can be in this world and do that. You can get to the point where you could be around lower frequency people, and just by your presence will raise people up, because they will want to match your aura. That's energetics and understanding that. Now, generally at the beginning, you don't want to do that, because you want to actually protect yourself in your own practice. So you want to put yourself only around good things, good association. And overall, You don't want to like purposely, even the highest level practitioners don't spend now all their time in negative situations. That will lower them, right? Eventually. But you could spend a little bit of time there and have a positive influence. So the point is that sexual mastery is the point of entry where either the negative influences are going to enter or be repelled. Pornography drains you of your energy. It's literally a depleting activity. There's no energetic exchange. And you can get real esoteric with it, and to say that there's even some people feeding, or some kind of entities feeding off that energy, because energy has to go somewhere. It has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So who's benefiting? There are people, whether you look at it at a material level, there are people getting massively rich. Did you know that the pornography industry as a whole is bigger than the NFL, NBA, and the Major League Baseball combined? Right now, as we're doing this video, there are 30 million people on the planet watching pornography right now in this moment. Think about all of that negative energy that's being emanated from those living entities and beings. 30 million people right now. It's insane.
And it's such an ignorant thing to do. It's kind of a bit spooky, but it's quite a ghostly activity. Just like they say there may be some subtle entities like ghosts. They watch us live because they maybe don't have a material body or a body to use to enjoy with. So they watch us and they try to enjoy through. They may even watch someone having sex or just doing things and they enjoy through that. They try to take that energy. And especially when people are in ignorance, that's why they often attack people who are maybe intoxicated or doing very ignorant things, because their energy is weak. So they can like use that person and get some energy from them. But when you're watching pornography, you're acting like a ghost. You're just watching someone else live a life, and you're trying to get pleasure from it, as if you don't have a body and you're a person who can't interact with the world properly or something like that. And probably there's ghosts watching people. It's just like a completely ignorant, insane, very dark thing to be doing.
Yeah, it's a very dark train. And you are right. When you talk about negative spiritual entities that live in subtle bodies, they attack those who are weak of body and mind, right? They influence you in your thoughts. They influence you in your and try to enjoy through you, because they're even at a lower frequency than you, and they're trapped in a hellish condition. And so by mastery of your sexual energy, you actually protect yourself from these lower vibrations and frequencies. Your aura becomes so strong that you become a light in this world. And light naturally dispels darkness. Like when the sun rises, darkness just goes away, right? You don't have to fight darkness. I tried to do that for a number of years in politics, and then recognized I was just becoming dark myself. You see, it's a loser's game, because you're trying to what you're thinking about, you become. So in my time of politics, I noticed over the few years I was involved that I was just becoming more angry, like almost like falling back into my old self, right? I wanted to smoke again all the time. Because I was drowning in this negativity and trying to relieve myself from it with those old patterns and habits. And then recognize, whoa, I need to stop. This is what it's like to feel good and to be happy and to be positive and to be a positive force in this world. I'm no longer being that. So you don't fight darkness with darkness. You don't fight anything. You go and create light in the world, and the only way to do it is to create more light within yourself. Your only job is to evolve as a soul yourself. And as you evolve and you master your own internal energies, then naturally you're going to see the wonder, and naturally your impact will be so good in the world that you begin to light other people up just by osmosis. You don't even have to try. Just by your work, just by what you do in the world, naturally people around you will start to evolve with you, and then they'll catch it, and guess what, they'll then spark it in other people, and that's how we do it. So it's all about being that change. It's all about mastering ourselves. And men, I'm really speaking to you specifically. It's really on you, because you're the masculine. You're the stable pillar. You are the penetrative force in this world, right? If we're looking to women to lead this way, yes, of course a woman can do it, right? But it's actually not their natural position to do it. It's our position. It's our duty. It's our responsibility. And for them, it's a lot easier for them to actually be supportive of us. This doesn't mean that a woman can't do what a man could do and be a CEO. We're talking about energetics, right? Not material, how much, whatever occupation or work you do. But it is a more natural position for women to be more supportive. The feminine energy is more creative in that sense. So as men, when we're strong in our sexual energy and strong in our discipline and our focus and our duty, then naturally women can be in their feminine. And guess what? When they're in their feminine, they give to us in all the ways that we want, materially and spiritually. A lot of men are like, oh, my wife's not interested in having sex or blah, blah, blah. No, she's just not interested in you, man. like you're just not holding a frame or a power within yourself that's attractive. But when you're holding and you unleash your masculine power, your masculine leadership, then naturally you're going to become attractive. But you also won't fall for it easy. Like, you won't be thrown off. You just won't sleep around with anyone. So many men, they'll just sleep with any woman that comes by. She says, yeah, I'll blow you. They're like, okay, let's do it. Right? But when you're
and a lot of men out there are thinking, where are these women? That doesn't happen to me. That's what a lot of men are thinking.
Oh, well, that's because you gotta you have to work on yourself then. But women are happy to please you in all different ways, like, sexually, yes, but emotionally, mentally, all that kind of stuff. Everything that we want in a woman, women are actually happy to be that. But if you're the type of man who can invoke that in them, right? That's the secret to it, right? There's the story of Rama and Sita, and Sita would follow Rama into the forest and everywhere and anywhere Rama was going, Sita would be there, because that's they're showing that's there. But the question we have to ask ourselves, are we worthy like Rama? Rama we consider an incarnation of God, so we can't compare ourselves, but we could take inspiration. Are we a man like Rama where you're worthy of following? I hired a coach. Biggest investment I've made in myself financially in my life, right? A really top tier coaching program. And, we were talking about, like, I was saying, like, yes, Sarah supports me in this decision, and we believe 100% in what we're doing. So we're going to show that. We're going to show it in our actions, our habits, and our finances. Oh, sorry, we're getting a feedback.
Sorry, I just unplugged it quickly. I was just taking my jumper off. Go on.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yes. So when I was talking with my coach, he's saying just to support you, and does Sarah support you? I said 100%. And then what was interesting, because his wife supports him too, and he's saying, a lot of people don't support their spouses like that, or support their men like that. There are a lot of women don't support their men like that. And then we were kind of laughing, and I said that's because their man hasn't shown them that they're trustworthy yet. Yeah, right.
That's understandable, really.
100%. If you've been shown in your own life that you are responsible, that you can take on, that you could provide and protect, and that you could take on bigger things and be successful in those things, she's not going to trust. She's not going to support you when you're like, hey, I'm going to take money that we don't have. I'm going to, and invest, 25 grand into a program, because it's going to, I'm going to get that back 10 times. Right. And blah, blah. She's going to be nervous about you doing that, because she's like, dude, you can't even like bring home a couple grand, or like, you're like, you're struggling to provide at this level. And now you want to invest that. She's going to hesitate. Or when you say, hey, I'm going to go do this thing, or I'm going to go pursue my business or pursue my dream. If she's not supporting you, it's because she doesn't subtly trust you. It's not that she doesn't love you, but you haven't shown her that you're worthy. You probably don't take out the garbage when you say you're going to. You probably have a messy house. Like, you probably aren't doing the basics, which allows her then to feel good about supporting. But when you do the basics and you start stepping up with your integrity, watch how she'll support you. What woman wouldn't want you to go and invest in yourself and become a millionaire or whatever? It's not about the money. The point is, she wouldn't want why wouldn't she want you to be the version of yourself? Because she knows that if you're the best version of herself, she also gets to live a life that expands the best version of who she is too. She gets all the things she wants as well. So if she doesn't trust you, if she's not cheering you on, don't blame her. As men have to ask ourselves, am I worthy of that type of love and support?
I had that realization this week. I realized this week, every relationship I've had in the past that didn't work was not because of this or that or because of them. It was because of two things. One, I wasn't committed really. And two, I wasn't in my masculine. Like, these are the only two reasons. And I would honestly put it down. Some of these girls are crazy, man. Oh, they've all got so many issues. Oh, why am I keep meeting these ones? I got, I'm all right. Well, these girls are so traumatized or whatever. I would think that because every relationship I would have, the reaction would be so like volatile, and it would be like, oh, I'm just trying to be a good guy, man. Why don't I have to leave them again. And only now started learning about to be in my masculine role, I can see how the reaction is very different. As you say, the reaction of the feminine energy becomes very supportive actually when you're really, but it's a challenge when you haven't been taught. But it was just such a clear realization. I was just like, oh, that's why they never used to work and be so stressful and so much drama. It's just because I wasn't doing my duty, wasn't doing my job at the time. I didn't know how,
Yeah, and the reality is most of us aren't, because we're actually being brought up in a culture where men are being feminized, right? Where we actually have being told we should be more like women, right? You should be more in touch with your feelings. Yes, definitely you should be able to feel, but you shouldn't act like a woman, right? Like, for instance, a mother's love and a father's love is very different, or a man's love and a woman's love. Like, for instance, a woman will be very nurturing to her children, right? And be like, oh, let them get away with that. Give them that extra sugar candy that they like, blah, blah, blah. But a man, see, a woman, a mother will love their children, even if their children are complete assholes and pathetic, right? Like, their children could be be total assholes, like totally messing up, not doing anything right, blah, 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 lazy, and the mother will still love them. And then what we're being taught as men is that we should also be like that. Well, why aren't you being loving and supporting? No, a man is going to hold the ground and say, you know what, son or daughter, you're fucking up. You're not, I didn't raise you to be an asshole. Your character is weak. You have no integrity. You see, that's a masculine love. A masculine love will actually set straight, discipline, and focus. I remember one time I got in trouble with the police in high school. So police come knocking on my door, right, looking for me. And my mother, of course, she just breaks down in tears and is just like, and then she was so upset. She I had hair at the time, she grabbed my hair and kind of flung it around a bit, kind of smacked me up. She was so upset and crying and really hurtful. Right. And, but did that set me straight? No, I'll tell you what set me straight. See, when my dad got home, first of all, now I got a little bit of fear. I'm like, oh shit. And you know what? My dad, this is that, and he didn't hit me. He did nothing. He didn't have to. It was just in his frame. He literally looked at me, and I'm getting a bit teary-eyed right now because that's how much it impacted me. Because to disappoint my father in that way, he looked at me and he said, I don't know who you are. And I don't know the type of person you're becoming, but you better get yourself together. And that's it. It was his disappointment and his masculinity of being like, he didn't get mad. He didn't get upset. He basically just said, in my words now, paraphrasing, you're being a piece of shit. And I don't accept that. I don't accept that. that shit has stuck with me for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like I ain't gonna be a piece of shit no more. Right? So that's strong masculinity. He loved me enough to tell me I'm being a piece of shit. That's the masculine. And in this world, oh no, sometimes even the father will come to discipline the children, and the mother will step in and be like, why are you talking to them like that? Or, why aren't you being more loving or supporting? Because they don't understand either that is the role of the masculine. You better allow your husband, you better allow the father figure or the masculine figure in the life to discipline your child. If protect your child from the masculine, you're going to go off track. Your kid's going to be a piece of shit and useless.
It's about understanding each other's natures and how they create one, how the masculine and feminine come together to create one whole thing that is very effective. That's something that should never happen. Also, it's called a cross-generational coalition. When a parent sides with a child against the other parent, it should never happen. The parent should always be on the same side. Like they should never let a child do that, and they should never do that to the other person, like to say, side with the child against the father or the mother, like, oh, don't worry, I'll tell him. No, it's like where the parents are a team, and therefore you teach the child that's love, that's unity, that's respect. If it teaches the child a very bad thing if you go behind the back of your spouse or against, like, it's actually not teaching the child anything good.
People who talk shit about their other spouse behind the person's back, right? Like you talk to your child and say, oh, your father's a deadbeat, or your father's a this or that, blah, blah, or he doesn't, blah, blah, blah. You're teaching them. You're also setting an archetype of the type of person that they're going to attract and be. So the relationship between mother and father is actually the most important in the household, because it shows the kids subconsciously what is the archetype and what kind of relationships they're going to have. So the mother and father need to be a team and support each other and understand. Father is generally going to play a more disciplined role. He's probably, it doesn't mean he's not loving. It's just how he shows his love is by disciplining, staying focused, holding the framework of character building, which means fathers ourselves. And by the way, like I did an interview on my Instagram with a woman, and she's a single mother. And she's like, I said, if you're a single mother out there, or maybe father isn't maybe living up to par or whatever, get your kids around strong masculine figures. Then that, Big Brothers Association, where men martial arts. Yeah. Plug them into martial arts where there's a sensei or a guru or a teacher who's going to invoke discipline. Martial arts is great for that, because that's still held in the tradition. Get them around a coach, like a sports coach or something that's holding a strong masculine frame. Like, so if you don't have a strong father figure in your life or a strong masculine figure there, then get around one and get your kids around them, because they will give that. And by the way, men, if you are that kind of man, then volunteer some of your time if you can. Well, first of all, do it for yourself and your family first. But once you're at a certain level, then give that to others, right? Maybe become a mentor for some teenagers or kids who don't have fathers. That's something over time in our business I'd like to do, is offer just mentorship to kids who don't have strong father figures or who don't have strong masculine figures, so that they can get around that. Because it's shown that even just by having a mentor, like a sensei or a guru or a sports coach, look at Mike Tyson as an example, how it changed the trajectory of his life, because he had be able to become that father figure in his life, so it can be done. There's no excuse. There are great men out there, and men, it's on us to do that. So let's do this last technique. It's a quick technique that will show. We're like, we'll be even quicker this week. I think we went longer. So this is called the triple heater. And this is a breath exercise and breath and movement that you can do together, that you can put together. In sexual alchemy, we teach breath, mental control, and movement. So body control, mind control, and breath control as the techniques to being able to master our energies. We use sound and meditation as well. So this particular technique is an overall auric cleanse. You can do this a few times a day and you'll just notice you feel more grounded, you feel clearer, and for men, it keeps our bodies cooler and our thoughts under check. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath in. And when you take a deep breath in, you're going to feel like your hands are rising above your head. And it's not a physical movement. It's not like jumping jacks. But you know the sensation when you're in the pool and your hands just rise up because of the buoyancy of the water? It's like that. So you're going to take a deep breath in. And then you're going to take your hands and you're going to place them above your head. And then you're going to breathe down with the sound. Think of like a cat hissing. And then right when you reach about the abdominal, you're going to toss out the rest of your breath and energy. It's like you're tossing out the negativity. So we'll do it again to demonstrate. Take a deep breath in. Your hands float up. And one more time. All right. Now we're going to add a visualization to really invoke the mind and intention. Intention is what creates our life. So now we're going to make the intention that we're clearing our body, we're clearing our auric field of anything that isn't serving us, of any negative energies or thought forms that are living within our field. We're going to use a visualization. So when you breathe up, you're going to imagine that your whole body is turning translucent, like transparent. So you're becoming a completely clear field. Okay. And then you're going to breathe that energy out and toss out the negative energy. All right. Let's do a few more times. Take a deep breath in. Hands float up above the head and clearing all negativity. Breathing up. And one last time, breathing up. Imagine your whole body's turning clear. And with our intention, clearing all negativity and negative thought forms that no longer serves us. Yeah. Awesome. So this is a one sound out of the 6 healing sounds, which is actually the first lesson that you, the first video training when you join the Become a Sexual Alchemist training. So if you're interested in training with us and really mastering your energy, unleashing your masculine power, becoming a better leader so you can be a better father, husband, leader in the world. You're a businessman who wants to, you want to inspire and lead in a more powerful way. You're a community leader, a religious leader, or community leader, and you want to be a positive difference in your life and in the lives. You want to leave a positive impact and legacy in this world, then reach out to me, send me a direct message. We'll jump on a call, have a discussion, get to know each other, make sure we're a good fit and that you're a right fit to be a student within our training. And then I'll give you the options to being able to train with us and to really master these techniques and invoke this type of masculine leadership in your life. Jake, you got any final words or thoughts as we wrap up today?
No, it's another great discussion. It's cool when we just go on because we're saying so many cool things. I use the triple heater every morning and evening, and I really feel it more and more now. It is like an energetical shower. I have a shower as well in the morning and evening. But even if like there's some situation where it's like, oh, I can't have a shower for some reason, or it's like really late, even just doing that triple heater really just cleanses your energy from things you did throughout the day. And it really keeps me calm. And yeah, it's just, that's the one practice I do every day. I never miss that one. It's very powerful.
Amazing. Yeah, it's a super powerful practice. And again, it's one out of 6 healing sounds and movements that we teach out of a series of 27 different formulas and techniques. The beauty about these practices is it only takes you, if you don't, you can work at the pace that you want if you go through the program. Once you invest in the program, it's yours for life. So you can work it at your own pace. But for those guys who are ready to have a result today, they want transformation now. They don't want to wait years of struggle and messing around with addiction, messing around with lower negative habits. They're ready to transform their life. Within 6 weeks, you can learn all these techniques and implement a daily practice into your life that will just totally skyrocket your energy, your masculinity, and your overall power in this world. So reach out to me, connect. We've also got the free ejaculation course as a resource for you to get started and sample some
free
of the
ejaculation
techniques and
control course, not ejaculation course.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Yeah, thanks a lot for the session. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you leave comments and questions. Share this out with your friends and family. Peace.
Yeah.
Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain.